Konnichiwa, my name is Sakura, and you're watching PokeCast. Today's Top 10 is going to be a video on the top 10 Street Fighter games. Hope you guys enjoy listening to what I think are the 10 best Street Fighter games that have been released. And as always, it's my opinion, so I hope you guys just understand if there's games that you like better than I do, then by all means, let me know in the comments. Well, let's go ahead and get started on with the rules. Alright, for rule number 1, it has to be released as a Street Fighter game. So what this means is no add-ons. So like the Street Fighter pinball table for the Zen Pinball doesn't count for this, or any other game that only has a Street Fighter add-on. So it has to be released under a Street Fighter name. Rule number 2, no versus or crossover games. What this basically means is games like Pocket Fighter, Capcom vs. SNK, and X-Men vs. Street Fighter, those are where the Street Fighter characters cross over into another universe and have a different game. These games are not included in the list because they're not released as a Street Fighter game. And finally, rule number 3, no collections. Now, I did use some collections to record the footage from, but no actual collection will be in the top list because they're just collections of Street Fighter games and doesn't really count because that'd be an unfair advantage. Coming in at number 10, of course, is Street Fighter V. Now, the reason why the newest iteration of Street Fighter is at the last of it is because, well, when the game came out, I actually have the original release of it. It had nothing. It still has nothing. Took me 4 hours to download the update to have the arcade edition, and it still has nothing. True, a lot of new features really add to the game, and I do enjoy that. However, all my characters are locked behind a shop system, which I really didn't mind for Marvel vs. Capcom 2, but it doesn't work as well for this one. Mainly because if we want all the characters, it's going to cost us $60 to buy with money to unlock all the characters, or 100,000 per character to buy it with the points, which means you gotta be good at the game to be able to unlock everything quickly. So that is why this is number 10 on the list, is because it was a poorly done release of the game. It really was. Other than that, if they had not done that to us, the game itself probably would have been higher on this list. But due to the fact that so much was left out, and it's basically a Tony Hawk 5 of Street Fighter and Street Fighter 5, well, let's just say this is at the bottom of the list because it's earned that. Coming in at number 9, we have Third Strike, Street Fighter 3. Fight for the future. Well, the reason why this one's lower on my list isn't... How can I say this? When it comes to the gameplay, I thought the gameplay was very good. It introduced some new things into the game, and I really enjoyed that. The concept has moved on into the later iterations of Street Fighter by selecting what your power move is going to be and stuff like that. I actually enjoyed that. Graphically, it looked good. The thing I just didn't like was really, well, the ending boss alone really made me not want to play this game anymore. The game wasn't as well polished as some of the other ones that I had enjoyed, and it just kind of didn't fit well with what I enjoyed. Now, I do like to play this game. However, because of the, things like that, I just had to put it lower on the list because I just really enjoyed some of the other Street Fighters more than I enjoyed this game. But I do enjoy the new characters they brought in, which is sad that some of them completely have disappeared, and other ones have continued to be brought back. So, this is why Street Fighter 3 is at number 9 on the list. Coming in at number 8 is Slaughter Up Course 7, Dekito da Street Fighter 2. Now, this is one of those that it's so bizarre that it's at the same time so much fun. This is a Slot game with the Street Fighter theme, and it actually lets you do fights and all kind of things on here, which are really fun. This is one of the Street Fighter games that when I saw it, I had to get my hands on it, and I was not disappointed. It brought the world of Slot and Street Fighter together in a beautiful way, but it was still a Street Fighter game. So this one comes in at number 8 because, well, it is a lot of fun to play. I'm horrible at it, but it's one of those that it's not as good as the other ones on the list, but absolutely love this game. So I wanted to put this up here because I want to show you guys another Street Fighter game that is a Street Fighter release game, but you play in a different way, and I had so much fun with this game. So that's why this is here, because it's just one of the games I'm really happy to have part of my collection. Coming in at number 7, we have Ultra Street Fighter 4. This one's definitely higher on my list because it is a really good version of the game. I really enjoyed what they did with it, and with Ultra, we get everything included. I think this is what kind of leads into why I put Street Fighter V so low on the list. Is that even with just Street Fighter 4, we had a ton of new features, and we actually had a decent amount of characters when the game first came out. And yes, I will admit, not having Sakura in 5 until just now did kind of put me off on Street Fighter V. But yeah, that's just a little thing. But no, seriously, Ultra is the best version of this game, and I think they did a wonderful job. Even the 3DS version is a wonderful version of the game. So not only do we have a fantastic handheld version of the game, but this game plays beautifully on the consoles. This is actually the PS4 re-release, which even makes it better that we got it on the newer systems as well. That shows you just how good that Street Fighter 4 really was in comparison to Street Fighter 5. So this is why it's up here. We're at number 7, and if you haven't played this one, I'd say even if you have 5, go back and try this one out. It's phenomenal. Coming in at number 6, we have Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. Now, I chose the HD Remix over the other versions of the game because I thought that the animation that they did really kind of reminded me of Street Fighter Alpha 3, and it really plays as a really good game. I liked what they did with this one, including the alpha bar in here, and how you can only really use it once per fight, depending on if you can build it up fast enough. And I think that's what made Turbo so much fun to play. And out of all the versions, I remember when we finally got this, it was just like, this is fantastic. I love how they updated the graphics, and it really worked. It didn't hurt the game at all. It just made it look nice. This is one of those that was, if I'm correct and I'm remembering, was only available for PS3 and the 360 digital only. Really great game. I think it just really shined, and it showed that we can get remakes with better graphics, though when it comes to it, really the graphics don't really matter as long as it plays really good. So that's why this one is at number 6 on the list. Coming in at number 5, we have Super Street Fighter 2, the new challengers. Now the reason why this one is on number 5 is because this is the game that really introduced me to Street Fighter. I absolutely adored this game on the Super Nintendo. I actually had the Super Famicom edition and the Super Nintendo edition. So this is one of the games that I went out of my way to get both versions of the game. Absolutely loved playing this version of the game because really that's what I had. And when we got all the new fighters, well, Street Fighter 2, Super Street Fighter 2, and so forth, we didn't care anymore. We had all the new characters, and that's what made this game better. We had the inclusion of several characters just really added to the game. Now, I know a lot of people really enjoyed the Sega Genesis version. I didn't have that one, so I was on Super Nintendo, and it really helped me get into the Street Fighter games. So that's why this one is up here, because if it wasn't for this particular game, I wouldn't want to continue playing Street Fighter. So yes, that's one of the ones I can just say thank you, Capcom, because it was really what drove me into staying with the series. Coming in at number 4, we have Super Street Fighter EX3. Man, what can't I say about this series? This series was amazing. We got Skull and Menace, and we got several other characters which were phenomenal to play. I remember picking up the first game for PlayStation 1. We had a ball with all the new characters. I really enjoyed when we got number 3 out. They brought a ton of characters in here and made the game worth playing. Just that, but that much more. The graphics were enhanced by the PS2, some new features added in, and just bringing in other characters really helped out the game. Now some people immediately are going to be like, wait a minute, but isn't this from a different series? It is now, but the game was released as a Street Fighter game when it first came out. So that's why it is eligible for this list, and it really is a phenomenal series. All 3 of them are fantastic and worth playing. This is just the one that had a couple more features that really shined and added to the game series that was already fantastic. So if you have never played this series, I highly recommend either picking up the PlayStation 1 or the PlayStation 2 games and checking it out, because you will enjoy some new features and some wonderful characters which will be coming back by the company who owns them later in a game that will be coming out this next year. So it's going to be fantastic. Well, I really hope you guys try this game out. It is one of my top games I really enjoy. Coming in at number 2, we have Street Fighter 2 for the Game Boy. Now, I know immediately you guys are like, but this is not the best handheld version of the game. Well, let me explain why I chose this one over the others. When it came to the handhelds, I only really had the opportunity to physically own Street Fighter 2, Street Fighter 3, or Alpha 3 Max up for Game Boy Advance, and I even had it for the PSP. But when it came to the version that I got first was this game. I remember when it came out, I was so psyched. I was able to get 2 versions of it, for that way me and my brother can play multiplayer. But the biggest thing that really puts this one above the others, multiplayer Super Game Boy. That's what made this one so much fun. Yes, the game isn't the best version for a handheld version of the game. It's a little slow, but being able to play it on the Super Game Boy multiplayer made it fun, because with the game not being the best version, you just had fun doing what you could and enjoying what the game had to offer. And it looks really good. It just plays a little slower. But playing multiplayer on here was just amazing. And I fell in love with this game. Now, had Street Fighter Alpha for Game Boy Color had this feature to work on the Super Game Boy, then, yeah, it might have surpassed this one. But still, one of my favorite handheld versions of Street Fighter. Coming in at number 2, Street Fighter, the movie, the game. Man, I already hear the comments now. Why? Well, there's a very good reason why. This is one of those unicorn games, if you will. I tried forever to get my hands on it, and I was finally able to get a copy of it before I can play the game. It's absolutely horrible. And I love it for being like that. Me, my brother, and my friends, when we get to play this game, we really have a lot of fun with it because it is so bad it's good. And it basically is Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo, but with the live actors and Sawada being an additional character from the movie. You have a lot of fun playing the game because, yes, it is slightly glitchy, and you, regardless, just enjoy the game for what it is. It actually does play quite nicely with every once in a while non-responsive controllers, but whatever. That's basically what you're looking to have and enjoy about the game. Honestly, it's one of my favorite Street Fighter games just because of how bad it really is and entertaining to play with friends. Absolutely love the movie, and the game really brings back that horribleness the movie had that you just really enjoy, but put it into game form. And until you've actually played this one, you either absolutely love it like I do, or you absolutely will hate it because of how bad it is. So that's why it's at number 2, is because it really is one of my favorite Street Fighter games of all time. Alright, as a real fast recap, we have Street Fighter V for it not being a game at all, but a download game with a disc. And that's what it is. At number 9, we have Street Fighter 3, which is at number 9 because the final boss is pure evil and don't really like it as much as some of the others. Coming in at number 8, we have Daikito da Street Fighter 2, which is a patchy slot version of Street Fighter, which is a lot of fun. Coming in at number 7, we have Ultra Street Fighter 4, which is a phenomenal game with everything included, and you get to enjoy a really good fighting game. Coming in at number 6, we have Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix. It is a phenomenal game that allows you to enjoy the addition with the Alpha Meter. Coming in at number 5, we have Super Street Fighter 2 The New Challengers, which is a game that actually helps me continue on with the series. Coming in at number 4, we have Street Fighter EX3, which is the best version of the EX because of how many characters it has and a lot of new features. Coming in at number 3, we have Street Fighter 2 for Game Boy, with Super Game Boy multiplayer action making it really fun to enjoy the game with friends. Coming in at number 2, we have Street Fighter the Movie The Game, a horrible Street Fighter game which is just so much fun to play. Coming in at number 1, we have Street Fighter 03 for the PlayStation 1. Now, this is one of those that is extremely specific on the version, due to the fact of two things. You have the World Tour, which is an RPG mode, and the Pocket Station mode, which allows you to export your fighter from World Tour onto the Pocket Station and have it with you, for you can level up your character as you walk around with it. You can actually get into fights with other people with Pocket Stations and so forth. With those two elements to the game, it really is my favorite version of Street Fighter ever made. The RPG element alone is a blast. It allows you to fight and earn abilities that you can plug into your character, but each ability, depending on how good it is, will take up so many slots, so you can only do so many. Like you can have regenerating alpha meter, so you don't actually have to do anything, but your alpha meter will literally grow as it goes. Or you even have health regeneration as another one. You have auto block and various others that you have to get while playing the game. And depending on how good you do in the fights is depending on how good of an item you can get. You can completely tweak out your fighter and have just a devastating character while you play multiplayer with your friends. Add in the Pocket Station ability where you can walk around and level up and fight on the go. Well, why not? It's a sad thing to see that version never made it to the Dreamcast with the ability the Dreamcast had, and that's why the Japanese PlayStation 1 version of this game is, without a doubt, the best Street Fighter game out there. It will always be my favorite Street Fighter game to play, and I always go back to it. I have it digitally for the PlayStation Classic game. I have the US version. I have, as you see, the Japanese version. It is phenomenal. And that is why this is number 1 on the list. Alright, I'd like to thank everybody for watching my top 10 video on the top 10 Street Fighter games. Once again, I'd just like to let you guys know this is really my opinion. I have played most of the Street Fighter games that have been released, and multiple different versions of the games that have been released as well. And the only ones I really hadn't had the opportunity to play was the Switch's remake, the pinball table, and one of the arcade games, which is really, really hard to come by, apparently. I've watched videos on it and it looks a lot of fun. But I have played a ton of different versions of the games. I've played every single one that I've been able to get my hands on. And really, when it comes down to it, there's a lot of good ones out there. There are some that are really hard and weird, and then there's some that are really bad. Like Street Fighter, the animated movie, the game. Not a very good game at all, but still fun to have in the collection. Or Street Fighter 2010, which is a platformer fighter, which I really do enjoy, but man, talk about hard as nails. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this list, and like I was saying previously, what are your top 10 Street Fighter games? Which versions of the game do you like the best? I'd like to know down in the comments to hear what you guys have to say, because, you know, this is my personal list, and I know there's definitely some games on here you guys are going to be questioning why it's even on there, but because I played a lot of games, some of them, even if they are bad, really shine and make me enjoy the series the way it needs to. Well, I hope you guys have enjoyed watching. This is T. Sakura saying ciao and sayonara.